computer. Hopefully that works. Recording. Hello, everyone. This is like our seventh Fresh Mercy Zoom. I love it so much. There is a face here that's exciting and new, and I'm going to get to Miss Jenjones in just a second. First, I'm going to open it up with a prayer to get our hearts and our minds right, and then I'm going to introduce you to my new best friend, Jenjones. Okay, so dear God, Lord in heaven, we pray to you today, Lord, just with a heart of thanksgiving, of just bringing us all together. I'm thankful for all the people that you have allowed to hear your message. The message that you have put on my head and in my head and on my heart so clearly this week has been the word steadfast. And it is our love for you and your love for us that is never changing, and it's always there. And I just pray that that word that you have told me to share along with the message will hit someone today, that it will touch them and they'll cling to it like I have clung to it all this week. I know that when you give me something to speak, it's not because it's not just because of me, but it is for other people, Lord. So I just pray that, and I read in my devotional today that we cling to, or we remember the last thing that we hear. And Lord, one of the last things you said was, go make disciples. And that's what we're doing here on the Zoom, is we just want to share the love that we feel with you and the relationship we have with you, and just the joy that you feel in our hearts, and the Holy Spirit that just protects us and leads us and guides us. We just want to share that. We want to make disciples wherever we're at, any stage you give us, whether it is, a teacher, a nurse, a mom, that we can make disciples, because we just want to share all the love that we have for you and that connection and that feeling. I want everyone to just get a glimpse of it, because it is steadfast and it's amazing and it's wonderful, and your love for us never, ever changes, ever. No matter what we do and all of our shortcomings, you love us the same. And I just thank you for this moment and this time, and thank you for these opportunities of meeting just phenomenal people that we admire and look up to, and their words and their knowledge that I feel like you have given them, they share with us, and we grab hold of so that we can become better because of it. And just thank you for these opportunities and just these giant, giant blessings, Lord. And I just pray that you will find us and meet us where we're at, and comfort us and hold us tightly and closely, and love us and show us where to go, Lord. And just thank you for health and happiness, and thank you for this moment, and just be with us, Lord. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Amen. All right. Jordan, you ready for this?
I'm ready.
Okay.
Okay, so when I was, it's so funny because Paige, you were speaking this morning about or you had sent the message and said, hey, I just really feel like I needed to change my song, or that God revealed it specifically that you need to change your song. Because all morning long I was just like, God, what do you want to hear? Because in all of this, with all of the knowledge and all of the truth that's being spoken, and then then we connect that with when he wants us to serve him in spirit and in truth. And I feel like when you have those together, there's just something that happens when we all come together, and we can give little pieces of ourselves. And he just wanted to remind people of who he is, that he is the great I am in every situation that's going on, and every circumstances, and everybody's unknown right now. What's the new normal? What's it going to look like? That in all of that he is the great I am. And so I am going to do I Am. In the dark, when I feel like we're worlds apart, I remember that I'm in your heart with you. You're all I've got. If I really had to count the cost, not a second or a minute's lost with you. You never ever change. You're the great I am. You always stay the same, and I won't forget. When I'm empty, you overflow in the wreckage. Your world is gold in the valley. You are my strength in the battle, my victory in the chaos. You are my peace in the desert, my only drink. Fearless, I'll take a stand, my God, the great I am. 'Cause you are light, you illuminate and give me life. I can see the sparkle in your eyes for me. And in the night, when I'm broken, I will fix my eyes. You're defender and you win the fight for me. You never ever change, you're the great I am. You always stay the same, and I won't forget. When I'm empty, you overflow in the wreckage. Your world is gold in the valley. You are my strength in the battle, my victory in the chaos. You are my peace in the desert, my only drink. Fearless, I'll take a stand, my God, the great I am. Oh, you're the great I am. Oh, and no kingdom, no power, no ruler can stand before the great I am. No army, no weapon, no evil can stand before the great I am. And no sickness, no pain, no depression can stand against no hunger, no fear, no injustice can stand against no kingdom, no power, no ruler can stand against the great I am. When I'm empty, you overflow in the wreckage. Your word is gold in the valley. You are my strength in the battle, my victory in the chaos. You are my peace in the desert, my only drink. Fearless, I'll take a stand, my God, the great I am. Oh, you're the great I am. Oh, you're the great I am. You're the great I am.
Yay, Jordan! I've never heard that song.
Me either, ever.
I love new songs.
I will send it to you.
Okay, thank you. So that I can listen to that one on a loop, like I have your last song from last week, every day. I just still can't get enough of it. I love it. Was one of the words unchanging? Or something on. What is it?
You never ever change. You're the great I am. Let's see. I don't think unchanging was actually.
I like to hear things I want to hear.
It's what we do.
I was trying, it kind of went with Steadfast, okay? I was trying to make a connection.
Yeah.
I love it. Thank you, Jordan. You're the best. Yeah, it was pretty. All right. Then there's Jenjones. Oh, Jen, thank you. I can't really thank you enough. Just really, this is it really is a blessing for someone like me and my sister, teachers, that I think teaching is one of the hardest jobs in the entire world. And I also think reading and writing is one of the hardest things to teach. But I also think as humans, we overcomplicate things. And so you have, hold on one second, Jenjones, because I have a quote. But you had said, okay, a couple things. You said, in the real world, nobody cares what your reading level is. Thank you. And there was one other one. Oh, well, and it was just, if you want them to read, have them read. If you want them to write, have them write. But I just want you to know that I had told you earlier, but the text messages this morning from friends just saying, good luck, good job, good luck, and soak it all in, because you mean a lot to teachers. People that are positive and have a teacher's heart, which actually my friend Sadie took one of your virtual classes, and she said it was a breath of fresh air for right now. And she said Jenjones has a teacher's heart, but we gravitate towards people like you. And so we really do hang on we hang on every word you say, because it's good and it's true and it's right. And as lifelong learners, we're constantly wanting to know the best. We want to be and do the best for these kids. So just tell us everything you know. I have a pen.
We're ready.
But thank you.
Tell us all the things. Yeah. So, oh my gosh. Well, first of all, thank you so much for reaching out to me through a direct message and just taking a chance. And I did some training when I was a teenager, and one of the things that stuck with me with that it was like a psychological kind of like weird kind of training called the Forum. But anyway, one of the things they said was, you never know unless you ask. And that's like what you said, and you even said in your text, you're like, this is a long shot, like I don't know if you even like do this kind of thing or whatever. And I was like, yeah, sure, when. Because I feel like the more I get my message out there, and the more I can share the literacy gospel, or whatever you want to call it, like the goodness, the awesomeness, the golden nuggets, the more people do like want to come drink the water. And so I feel like, some people don't know what they don't know. Some people know they don't know, but want to, help themselves. There's always people that like are good, but they want to get better. Like you said, I feel like teachers that are learners are better teachers. Teachers that are readers are better reading teachers. Teachers that write, and I mean teachers that read personally and teachers that write personally. Keep a diary, keep a journal, write in your Bible. Like when you personally do the act of reading and writing for your own life, for nobody else, just intrinsically because you want to, you are better able to help kids grow as readers and writers when you do it yourself. It's really kind of fake when teachers try to teach kids how to read and write and they don't actually continue to practice themselves. So it's very much more authentic, and it really helps kids realize, like when you pull up to a child to have a reading or a writing conference, or especially like a writing conference, and a child is doing something in their writing and they're really having a tough spot and they don't know what to do, or a transition or whatever, and you actually have that same sort of challenge as a writer, you can pull out your journal and you can say, you know what? I had that same problem last week. Let me show you how I did that workaround, how I flipped these paragraphs around and it made the whole thing flow better. And so it makes you more vulnerable, but it also makes you more real and like learnable and teachable. And kids are like, wow, my teacher had that same writing problem. Wow, I respect her more for that. So that aside, you're all doing that. And I think anymore in education, teachers have learned that, I would say this is like really within the last 10 years, that if you want to grow in your profession, if you want to grow professionally in literacy or in math or science, you have to go after it yourself. Like teachers do not wait around anymore for the district or the principal to send them somewhere, or to like go to this training or go to that training. If you want something, you have to advocate for your own professional development anymore, and go get it, go seek it, watch it on Facebook, make it, grow it, look at YouTube. You have to say to your principal, hey, I'd really like to go watch Miss Miller teach her guided reading lesson down the hall. Can you cover my class so I can watch her teach guided reading? Then any good principal will say, absolutely. What time do you want me there? You know, and so like, because so often, like, and again, the things I say today, you're probably be like, yep, that was an Instagram post. Yep, she said that before. Yep. So like I say, when authors repeat something, it must be important. So like when Jenjones repeats something, it must be important. When an Instagram posts again and again and again the same message, just said in different ways, like it must be important. And so that's why like I do sometimes sound like a broken record. Like the things I've said on Brian Medler's podcast the other day and the things I might say today, like they're all things in my head I've said a million times. But because people are continually coming to the water, like it's going to be the first time a lot of people have heard it. So like when I said last night, let kids read whatever they want, like that's not new. Like I've been saying that for a long time. But some people, like I got 3 direct messages this morning from people that said, oh my gosh, please don't tell me you're flipping and not believing in guided reading anymore and don't want leveled instruction. And I'm like, no. Like, I'm just saying for parents, we need to teach parents, like, let kids read whatever they want. Like, we need to grow a love of reading first and then teach them how the mechanics of reading. But if you don't love it, you won't be able to do it. And if you don't do it, you won't love it at all. So like the loving reading and that positive association we have with our actions and behaviors around reading, our reading habits, going to the library, having a reading bag, a book bag, like a book bag on your shoulder. That's your library bag. That you're having a public library card. You know, downloading books on Kindle. Like whatever your reading habits are, like all of those develop over time. And that's what's most important, because when you leave school. And like I told like I said on Brian's, when you leave school, the only thing you have left is your own love of reading. Because again, because you heard me say, nobody cares in the real world. Nobody cares what your reading level is. You don't walk into Barnes and Noble and the associate doesn't say, "Hi, Jenjones, how may I help you today? What's your reading level?" And I'll point you into the right department. It doesn't happen like that. And so the only criteria in the real world, and it should be at school too, is the only criteria for picking out a book is it a book that looks interesting to you? Honestly, is it look interesting to you? Is it by an author that you like? Is it by is it in a series that you like? Is it the genre that you like? Is it on a topic that you like to read about or want to learn more about or want to get better at? If the answer is yes, then put it in your cart. If the answer is no, then put it back for somebody else to enjoy. You know, so just really helping. I mean, I feel like I say this too. I feel like as a teacher in education anymore, because education looks and sounds different than it ever did before. And so I feel like educators as teachers, our job is half teaching kids and half teaching parents. So much because, you know, yeah, we're teaching kids, but half the time we're trying to explain to parents, you know, that it's not about perfection. It's about progress. So I say progress over perfection. And it's not about the product anymore. It's not about the completing the stack of worksheets. It's not about making the shoebox diorama anymore. It's about the process of reading, and growing and developing over that, and being cognizant of that process and being cognizant of your growth and your little milestones that you're making all along the way. Because you know how many shoebox dioramas I made in elementary school myself without actually having read the book? Tons. I can make, and that was before the internet. I mean, I could make a great shoebox diorama and never read the book. Did I get an A on it? Because it was a great shoebox diorama. Did it mean I comprehended a lick of the book? Absolutely not. And that's a huge problem right now in education, is that, and it always kind of has been kind of the classic problem, is that kids can read, they just don't know what they read. You know, they get to the end of the chapter book and the kids, you know, the teacher or the parent goes, "Oh, what was that book about?" And the kid goes, "I don't know." And you're like, "Well, why did you keep reading it? Like, that's not reading." And they're like, "Well, I'm just ready to read another one." And they're like, it's just like, that's such an empty feat. Like, why even read it if you don't know what it was about, if you're not thinking about it? And so when I say the world doesn't care what your reading level is, what I really, you know, the rest of the sentence is, you know, reading is taking information in. Reading Okay, let me just back up. So when we talk about language, there's 4 areas of language. So if you're taking notes, no, I'm just kidding. There's 4 areas of language. There's listening, speaking, reading, and writing. And when kids are born, when babies are born, from the day they're born, they are mostly listening. They can't read yet, they can't write yet, and they really can't speak yet. They are expressing themselves, that's true, but crying and noises and stuff like that, we're not really counting that as language per se. Well, then they're like 6 months old and they start to learn words. So it's like mama, papa, dad, doggy, whatever. They learn the first 100, 300 words by the time they're 2 years old, whatever. And then, and hopefully all the while, parents are reading to them from day one, which we would hope. It doesn't always happen, but that would be great if it did. So I always tell parents that when you have young children, especially babies, and you're not a teacher and you don't know that reading to babies is something you should be doing, that you should always, but talking to your baby is really, really important, because that's how mothers and babies bond. That's how fathers and babies bond, is through voice. Okay, so voice bonds. And so if you don't know what to say to a baby, because most of the time people don't know what to say to a baby because they think it can't understand anything. And so people say gibberish words to babies. Like they go, oh, I don't know what I'm saying, but you're so cute. Right? That's how they talk to babies. But really, that doesn't really help in the long run to say, oh, you're so cool, all that. It's fine for like the sweet factor, but pick up a book and just read a book to a baby, because the words are supplied for you. And you can even pick up a book and you can read a book in that baby voice if you want to, and you can say, on the African Veld, there is a village. As the sun sets, parents tell their children it's time for bed. Like, you can do it in any voice you want, but just pick up a book, because the books have that vocabulary built in and the text is there for you. You don't have to think up, shoot, what do I say to this 2-week-old? Like, it's already there. Don't have to put any effort into it. And so, and reading to your child like becomes a habit. It's like so much of reading at school and at home is about building. It's not about homework. It's not even about really like quizzing your kids. It's just really about habits, positive habits, positive daily habits. So like, I'm a huge fan of Simon Sinek. He did a TED Talk a couple of years ago called The Golden Circle. He also has a book called Begin with Why. And he has a recent TED Talk that he talked all about, and it's all about consistency. And so much of what we do in life and in school, when it works, when it's working for us, it's not because of 1 or 2 times that it worked really well. It's about the daily consistency and the daily habits that make it great. So like, you can't, expect to be a really good reader if you just read 1 night a week and you're done. Or you can't you can't brush your teeth for 2.5 hours the day before you go to your cleaning. Like, you have to do it every day for 2 minutes, twice a day, in order for it to be effective. So the things that matter most in life are the things that you can't stack up and do all at once. You have to do it a little bit every day. Like, you have to eat a little bit every day. You have to sleep a little bit every day. You can't take 4, because this is why I have a quote, reading is like bathing. You need to do it every day. Like, you can't take 4 showers on Monday and make it last until Friday. Like, you have to do it every single day. And so when parents say, it really doesn't work for me for you to send that home reading folder home every night, because, I'm not a workbook fan. And research shows that doesn't work anyway, because kids will fake you out with a worksheet. They will do it for the worksheet, but they won't actually do it in their own writing or in their own reading. So, what's the point? Absolutely, right? They don't. They'll fake you out. So, but when I send home reading, which is a parent read loud and a book on the child's reading level, or a book that the child picked out. So, especially in K2, we're going to send. We want teachers to send home a home reading folder that's like a plastic envelope or a manila envelope, or they have Velcro envelopes from Really Good Stuff. But every night 2 books go home. One, and both the books the child picks out, but one is more like a book from their reading basket, their reading level basket, that they read 5 times. One to mom, one to dad, one to sister, one to teddy bear, one to cat, whatever, but repetition. And then there's another book in there that up in the corner, it says parent read aloud. And it's a basket of books that you, the teacher, create from extra books that teachers have laying around from the Scholastic Book Order or garage sales or Goodwill or Chick-fil-A books. I don't care. Just whatever books you can find that you can add to the bucket. And then you just put those return address labels at the top that say parent read loud book, and the child picks out the book that they want the parent to read to them at night. And so every night those 2 books go home, and the parent reads the parent read aloud to the child, and then the child reads the book, the level book 5 times, and then it comes back on Tuesday. She switches out the book Tuesday, send it home Tuesday night, come back. So the routine happens Monday through Thursday night. Well, kids that do home reading, now I've taught for 25 years. I've taught 1st grade, 2nd grade, 3rd grade, 4th grade, 6th grade, and 8th grade. And I always did home reading, this home reading system. It's not a program, because I'm not a program person either, but if you do this every single night, Monday through Thursday, those kids will make it, they will read on or above benchmark by the end of the year. In addition to your good instruction during the day, but also this consistent building this habit every single night. And I've had parents that come to me, and I've taught in socioeconomic, high free and reduced lunch areas, and I've taught in affluent neighborhoods, and parents are the same everywhere. They just, either they want it all or they don't want anything. And so I've had parents that say to me, you know what, it's really not working for our family for you to send home these books every single night, because we have lots of things during the week. Like we have harp and soccer and, flute and gardening and guitar and the whole 9 yards. And I'll say, no, I'm sorry, I'm not going to send home 4 books on Monday and have you return them all on Friday. And I say, because reading is like bathing, you need to do it every day. So this is a nightly habit that we're trying to build here. So, it's just, if we could help parents understand that, when the Common Core standards came out, it was a higher level of expectations for students. And what that translates to is higher level expectations for teachers. And it really translates to higher expectations for parents as well. And so, just getting parents to understand that school no more is no more like, it's not make upable. So like when parents come to you and say, oh, like I'm going to take Sally to Disney for a week. Is she going to miss anything? Right? And we all go, this is me. Yeah, everything. Like you can't make up morning meeting. You can't make up guided reading. You can't make up the cooperative learning group. Can't make up the strategy group. Can't make up the mini lesson. Can't make up that writing center. It's like,
Well,
no.
Jenjones.
Yes, no, type up anytime. Yeah. They're all on mute. And I love your hand gestures. That really helps for sure.
Lots of hands. I wouldn't be able to talk if I didn't have my hands. But that's just everything I love about you is my philosophy, our philosophy. I became a teacher because of my sister, and also great teachers that I had, like Mr. Notman. Anyways, and shout out to Mr. Notman. And, but when you say, I don't do worksheets, I don't do programs, no, because the most effective thing in the entire world will be an effective teacher, period.
Exactly.
And we are seeing that more than ever with digital learning. It's the teachers. You cannot replace an effective teacher that loves what she does and loves those kids. But when you said, will Sally miss work when we go to Disney World? It's hard in a classroom like ours. We don't do worksheets, but they want something to be given to them while they're on the airplane, which no thanks, just enjoy your time. But,
right.
I can't give you, I can't, because like you said, morning meeting, that's talk. Oh, mini lessons, that's talk. Writing.
That's book. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I agree.
And if what you're saying is like, what do you tell those parents? If that's what you're getting at, then I always tell parents, like, read to your kids and read yourself. Let them see you reading. Let them see you writing. You can write. Don't try. I always tell parents, like, don't try, especially in these times when we have remote teaching and they're home with parents, like now with their kids are home with the parents and parents are seeing, like Brian Medler said to me yesterday, he said, I am seeing more now what my child's teacher does, what her job is, and what she has to do more than ever. Like, I never knew what happened at school. And yeah, she has Seesaw, and I see what my kid does that I don't see her teaching. And now I see her teaching every morning. And he sent me this cute video of their morning meeting. They were singing a good morning song, and he was sort of panning the living room, and it was like the mom, the dad, the kid, the little kid, her, the girl, and the dog were all singing the good morning song. And so I'm like, so really this is family school. Yeah, it kind of is. The whole family is getting the lesson. And for teachers that aren't passionate about what they do, or who just aren't sadly into kids or learning or growing professionally or whatever, and there probably aren't that many like that, but those that are maybe less confident in their practice are very reluctant to do remote teaching, because they feel like they're being judged by a parent but I always say to teachers, you are the expert. You know your craft better than any administrator, better than any teacher, better than the kids. Like, you are the expert. So be confident in what you know and how you know it, and deliver your job with confidence, because confidence is a very attractive feature. And so I think, it's just, teaching now is on display, for the whole world, the whole neighborhood, the whole Zoom, the whole Zoom can see if you're a good teacher or not. And so, it's for the ones that are good and love their job, that are animated and over the top and all that, like, they are loving it right now, because they're able to shine. And we have to hold the hands of the ones that aren't into, are maybe introverts, or who don't embrace technology, or who have never been trained in any of this, which for the record, no teacher has. So, but we're all doing, everybody's doing the best we can. But yeah, it's a new kind of, like you said, lots of change, lots of things that are new. And the unknown of when this is going to end is nowhere in sight. And so this is why your theme of Steadfast is so appropriate right now, because in the realm of being steadfast is hope. Hope that that things will get better, and I think that's why laughter is such a good remedy for so much, because in laughter there's hope that this could all, so one of the things that I noticed within the first 2 seconds of joining this Zoom is how much laughter and joy and positivity and just laughing out loud you brought to this. And you have to, if you want to survive and get through this. We just can't be ho hum, when's this going to end? Because we just have to go day by day. We just have to realize, like, we have to celebrate that we made it through another day. Like, every day we have to do that. Absolutely. And for kids as well, because this is a really, really strange time. But in the spirit of talking about literacy and books and being book pushers, trying to push books in kids' hands and matching books to readers. And I always say, like, if a kid doesn't love reading, it's just because he hasn't found the right book or the right author or the right series yet. And kids that don't love reading are often products of parents or teachers who don't wear their reading heart on their sleeve. So the more that we can be excited about books, or the more that we can share our excitement about books, the more kids will realize, like, oh my gosh, like, books are a big deal. And I'll be like, you bet they are. You bet your booty books are a big deal. And so I will say things like that to kids, because I want them to know, like, books are a big deal. Like, when you order when your Scholastic book order box comes in, don't wait for the kids to go off to specials to open the box. Do a big unboxing in front of the kids. Make the opening of the Scholastic book order box a big deal. And literally, like, share with kids, like, get excited, and literally teachers should be a walking, talking, breathing billboard for books all the time. The more, and like, I always get new books from the book. I'll do like little book teasers, like the Rating Rainbow with kids, but also I'll get new books either from the public library or just not new books, but new to me or new I haven't read yet books from the public library, and I'll lay them on my ledge in the classroom, like the chalk tray or whatever the tray that people have, a whiteboard tray. And I will tell the kids, these are my new books. You can look at them, but you can't touch them. Because it's all about the spin. You know, if you're a parent, you know what I'm talking about. If you're an administrator, you know what I'm talking about. If you're a literacy coach, it's all about the spin. We have to be spin doctors. We can't say, when I was a literacy coach, that's the first thing I learned right away. If I got a stack of new professional books and I had to order 35, one for every teacher, for a professional book that I wanted every teacher to read because it was going to be like a school-wide book study, I would not get on the loudspeaker and go, teachers, after carpool today, please come to my office and pick up your new copy of the Reading Strategies book. If you don't pick it up, I'll put it in your box. Like, how much that make me want to go pick it up, right? Nobody, right? Or if I say, teachers, I've got 5 copies of the Reading Strategies book. The first team that's in my office at 3:00 gets it, and you get to be the pilot grade level that gets these books first. Now, they don't know I have them for everybody, but it's all about the spin. It's all how you spin it. And it's the same thing with kids. You know, it's all how you spin it to kids. So if you're like, guys, I've got these new books, I think you're going to love them. I'm like dying to read this book too, but I'm not going to read it today. Like, it's just like, I know I'm going to cry. You're going to cry. You know, as teachers, you know, you and I know that part of our job as teachers is to think out loud when we read. Like, we read aloud to kids and we say, oh, I bet this part is really making me have a connection. Like, my connection is this, or like, oh my gosh, I have this question. Readers ask questions, so let me stop and ask my question. Like, we think out loud. We're supposed to think out loud, like that's metacognition is about. But our job as teachers is not only to not only let kids know what books make us think, but how books make us feel. Because we want kids to know that books do something to us. When we see ourselves in books, or make us feel a certain way, or the character learns a certain thing, or we just want to just say, hey, and tell the character something, or talk to the character, like just be such an advocate. And also, like, a lot of times teachers like lose that whole author connection, because we live in such an age now, like with Twitter, that so many of the authors of the books that kids are reading are like me, like you were saying with me, like attainable, accessible. Like, you could reach out to an author on Twitter, and your class could invite the author to your class for like a mystery Skype or a mystery thing, and ask the author questions, or why did you do this, or why did you do that? And so that is very engaging and motivating for kids, the fact that they might get a chance to talk to the author. And it's also an element of bravery too, because what it says to kids is, if she can become an author, I can become an author. Like, I could write a book someday, you know. And it just gives, again, more hope. And it's like, oh yeah, this is what I want to do. Like, she can do it, I can do it. You know, I have a quote that I use a lot at the end of my presentations, and it says, you have to be brave with your life so others can be brave with theirs. And, you know, no one ever, like, I didn't go to college to do what I do now. Like, this is all organically happened, how I'm like now doing presentations and PD and stuff. But when I worked for the school that I was working for in Wake County, which has 150 elementary schools in it, it's a very large school district. I know, it's crazy. There's 6 area superintendents. I mean, it's just like monstrous big. And so that's when I said at the beginning about how teachers just have to go find their own professional development now, because in a district so large, there was no more going to the district office for a PD. There was no more like, you know, we're going to meet together and pilot the new reading curriculum. Like, it was chosen for us. Like, we didn't go anywhere and learn and grow professionally. We had to do it ourselves. And so, I started in 2009 when the Common Core Standards came out, and I will admit to you, like, teachers that love their job, that are very passionate what they do, have a nerd feature, like a nerd quality, and they're very proud of it, right? Like, I love the fact that I can rattle off all the standards to you know, when I'm talking to people, I'm always like, oh, standard 1 is inferring, like standard 2 is, you know, main idea, standard 3 is character, standard 4 is figurative language, and, you know, vocabulary and the point of view. Like, I can do all of that. And people come to me and they say, Jen, like, Jen Jones, what's a really good book for teaching point of view? And I'll be like, Voices in the Park. Or Jen Jones, what's a really good book for teaching how characters change? The Paperback Princess. Like, I love knowing, because I like read a lot of books and I know my standards, and that's one of the key characteristics of a really like highly effective teacher, is that they know books. They have a high what Juan Gonzalez calls book knowledge. So like not only do I buy a lot of books on Amazon, I actually read them. Not only do I check out a lot of books from the library, actually read them. And so like a lot of teachers have a private stash of favorite books that they use to teach. But, and you know, it's like we keep them behind our desk. You know, there are favorite ones like The Invisible Boy and Owl Moon, and some of those that are like all nerdy birdie, like all our favorites. And we might use them 1 or 2 times a year, which we could use them 10 times a year if we knew all the teaching points in a book. But I say, let's just expand a teacher's book knowledge. So like I tell teachers, you don't have to spend any money to increase your book knowledge. And you could, like I use the term a lot, low prep, high yield. So like Robert Marzano, he uses the term low prep, high yield. And it's also low cost, low time, low stress, low energy, high yield. So, you know, when I say that, I mean, instead of being that teacher that does all the cutesy crafts, where it takes you 3 hours, you and your TA 3 hours to cut out all the elephant trunks, and then you do like a cute activity with it, and then it goes home for refrigerator art. So like that was a high prep activity with a low yield. So let's do low prep, high yield. So like something that doesn't cost a lot of time or money or energy or stress or preparation, that has a really high yield for kids in their learning and their reading achievement. Those are the practices that we need to be doing. And those ironically are the memorable ones, because kids won't remember that elephant trunk, but they're going to remember that time that they felt success reading a book or in guided reading, or they were able to segment or blend, or they were able to, you know, pass this test or have that feeling of success. And it's just, I mean, it's irreplaceable. It really, really is. I don't know what our time is like, but what is our time?
Oh, God, can you hear? Sorry, buttons pressing. Well, I told you that I got all the time in the world for you. But I know you're busy, but I just
it was fine. I just didn't want to keep rambling, and when it was time to really close up. But I do want to share a book with you today. It wouldn't be a meeting if I didn't share a book with you or read a book to you. And I picked it. It's funny that you know how, you know, everything happens in mysterious ways, on purpose, accidentally on purpose. But this book is a book where I would use this book. It's called I Just Want to Say Goodnight. It's called I Just Want to Say Goodnight. It's by Rachel Isadora. And I picked this book because when we're teaching younger students, like kindergarten, first and second grade, when we're teaching problem and solution, this is a really good book for teaching mostly at problem, because young children, that's a standard in every grade level. But when kids are first reading books, they don't often identify this problem in the book. It doesn't reveal itself like a problem in real life, right? So like a problem in real life that a real kid might have is like, I lost my other shoe. I can't find my teddy bear. I'm cold. Even that's not even a problem sometimes. Or I'm hungry could be a problem. Or we don't have enough money for food. That's a problem. We ran out of gas. That's a problem. I'm sick. That's a problem. Because that's how they reveal themselves in books. And so, you know, helping kids identify because in a book, a problem can be a fear. It can be a loss. It can be a strong opinion about something. But in this book, she does this repeating behavior. So in the top of the hour, when you said, when an author repeats something, it must be important. And I said to you, when a character repeats an action, it must be important. So pay attention. And so I just think it's funny that, you know, in a way, the repetitive behavior is a form of being steadfast, because you are convicted to continuing to do it again and again and again because you believe in it so much. And so in this book, I Want to Say Goodnight by Rachel Isadora, she does this repeating behavior. And so I'll go ahead and just read it to you. I don't have it hooked up. Okay. So it takes place in Africa. It says, on the African Veld, there was a village. As the sun sets, parents tell their children, it's time for bed, which all kids can relate to because parents say that every night. Most parents say that every night. Let's hope parents say it every night. Lala is her name. Lala greets her papa, who has been fishing. Oh, you caught a big one, she says. Yes, it was a good day, Papa said. It's time for bed, Papa tells Lala. I just want to go say goodnight to the fish, Lala says. Come, Lala, Mama says. I just want to go say goodnight to the kitty cat. It's getting late, Mama calls. I just want to go say goodnight to the bird, Lala says. Can you relate? Kids love this book too because they're like, I just want to get a drink. I just want to get tucked in again. One more story, like that whole thing. I just want to say goodnight to the goat. La la. It's time to go to sleep, Mama calls. I just want to go say goodnight to the monkey. Come now, Mama says. I just want to say goodnight to the chickens. Oh, Lala, Mama says. I just want to say goodnight to the little ants. I'm just not ready to go to sleep, Lala says to her dog. Woof. Now, Mama says. Yes, 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 I'm coming. I just want to say goodnight to the rock. Lala gets into bed. Sweet dreams, Mama says. Good night, Mama. I just want to say goodnight to my book. Lala says. Good night, Moon, she whispers and smiles. So, such a good book. So many teaching points in this book. Yes. Mm-hmm. So good. Such a good book. And, books don't have to be long. They could be short. But, this book alone right here has lots of repeating parts. We can use this book for teaching connections. We can teach this part for asking questions like, why is she acting this way? We can use this book for talking about setting and family and I think all of her family were very compassionate about her, giving her lots of grace for her behavior because, she was told multiple times to go to bed. What?
Yes, she was told multiple times to go to bed. Yes.
Yes, multiple times to go to bed, and she didn't want to. And so, just like I say a lot, books are a springboard for conversations. So maybe there are kids in our class that are afraid of the dark or who want to get tucked in or who have insecurities or anxieties about just nighttime. There's a really good book called Max and the Tagalong Moon that is about a little boy who leaves his, write that down, Max and the Tagalong Moon. I have it over on the chair over there, but it's about a little boy who every time he sees the moon, it reminds him of his his grandfather. And his grandfather says, every time you see that moon will follow you around and look after you and take care of you. And it will always follow you. So he leaves Grandpa's house and he goes on this little car ride home. And every time he looks out the window, the moon is following him. So he gets home and the moon is there. And then it's behind the clouds and he sees it again. But every time he sees the moon, he thinks of his grandfather. But, just the whole change of day and night, is really kind of a metaphor for this time in education. We're in the nighttime right now and it will get better. We were in the day and it's going to get better, but there's just, day and night is a common metaphor for lots of things. It's lots of symbolism. I always tell teachers that, there's 5 places that kids can look in the book to make inferences from. The kids can pay attention to the weather. You know, I'm a big believer in reading pictures. Like, we're going to look at the pictures and make inferences from the pictures, because when you look at the pictures, there's going to be things in the pictures that aren't necessarily in the words. So when we talk about paying attention to the details in the pictures, we want kids to pay attention to the weather, because if the weather is sunny, if the weather is cloudy or stormy, like in Thunder Cake, you know how Thunder Cake starts with a storm, and also the word thunder is in the title. That is a big, huge, like, aha, because it already means there's going to be, you know, drama, because there's already a negative connotation word in the title. So, you know, dark clouds and storms and stuff, that means, you know, the character's going to be going through some stuff. He's having a bad day. But when the story ends with sun, rainbows, and unicorns, you know, it means the characters, you know, made it through the storm, and those, like, things are looking up. So weather, facial expressions, you can look at a character's facial expressions to make inferences about how they're feeling. You look at their body language is number 3. Are they happy? Are they down or crunched over? Or do they have their back to the kids? Or so body language. And then costume and dress, like, what are they wearing? Because what they're wearing, you can make inferences about the era, the country, the geographical area. You can make inferences about their income, or their living their life, how they live their life. Even like in the Paper Bag Princess, she runs around the whole story with a paper bag dress on. That's kind of a key detail. And then the last place we want kids to look is the architecture and the environment. Like what is the outside or the inside, the interior of the house looking like, or is it like a Chinese temple, or is it like this? Is it a village? Things like that. So those are really the 5 places. But, you know, I do always talk about just keeping it simple, because, you know, districts are so influenced by big box publishers, and a lot of districts feel like a big box publisher is going to fix their school's achievement data, and that's just it's never going to happen. And it is a constant problem that's going to keep getting repeated over and over and over again if we don't stop and coach up teachers on the real tools of books and, you know, and writing. And we talk about reading and writing as reciprocal all the time, because, like I said at the beginning, the world doesn't care what your reading level is. However, the world knows you can read the second you open your mouth to speak, or pick up a pen to write, or open a Facebook page. Because if you can't write, everybody knows it. And we had a relative in our family, my husband's brother's, okay, I'm giving too much away. No, I don't know where this podcast is going. But anyway, I said to her, finally, because she doesn't have a high school degree, and her grammar and her spelling and her punctuation and her conventions are like first grade level. And I finally told Tammy one day, I pulled her aside and I said, Tammy, your Facebook account, like, you need to shut that down. Like, it is not serving you well. And unfortunately, being a good speller, is a stigma in our society. And so one of the things that parents really, really want to see coming home from school every single week is a Friday test, right? They want to see it. They want to see the spelling test. And, you know, I don't have a problem with, like, I'm a parent too, so I don't half blame parents for wanting their child to be a good speller. However, a Friday test doesn't mean they're going to be a good speller. It just means they're getting a Friday test sent home. So it's an appeasing thing for parents, but it's not really helping the kid in the end. And like, when it comes to spelling, I just think that one of the best phonics favors we can do for kids is to teach them that most words have more letters than sounds. So, you know, when they see the word weather, the word weather has 7 letters in it. W-E-A-T-H-E-R, but it only has 4 sounds. W-E-R. So there's a whole bunch of long vowel patterns and consonant digraphs in there that kids need to visualize in their head and know them, so that phonics isn't just reading sound spelling patterns correctly. It's being able to retrieve sound spelling patterns correctly, and know that, you know, night, that could be I blank E, it could be an I like icon, it could be IGH like night, it could be IE like pie. Like, there's 4 or 5 different spelling patterns for the long I sound. And so trying to help kids do that and try to educate parents. Like, we're trying to teach kids how to use these patterns correctly in their own writing. Being able, like, phonics instruction isn't just for phonics instruction's sake, and it's not just for the Friday test. It's so that you can write those words correctly and move from invented to conventional spelling without anybody telling you to fix it, so that you know what you're supposed to do. So, and doing it right after, after learning it, not just reciting it for a test. But spelling is not spelling. The stereotype is that if you're a bad speller, the myth is that if you're a bad speller, you're not intelligent, and that's clearly not true at all. But in society, you are judged for not being a good speller. So, spelling is important. Phonics instruction is important, and it's not just reading and decoding; it's encoding. It's taking the patterns up here and saying, oh, in the word night, it's an IGH. Even though I only hear 3 sounds, it's going to be NIGH. It's going to be 5 letters. So super important.
Oh, I'm so glad you talked about spelling. That wasn't even on my list, but it's one of those subjects that, it's kind of a touchy subject because we know that it's not the best instruction, the spelling test, but it's a practice that we've been doing since the 1800s,
Exactly.
Yeah, keep doing it. What were you going to say?
I was just going to tell you 2 things that keep coming up that I had to tell you is that the simplicity, Ashley talked about it. It's kind of weird that I'm talking to Jenjones.
It's Jenjones. She's right there.
You're one of the first people you're part of the reason why I have an Instagram account. I don't do any social media, but everyone kept talking about Jenjones, and I wanted someone to say, good morning, Instagram, to me. So you're my girl, okay? And now
I love it.
So simplicity, I'm one of those teachers where I just didn't do a lot of technology in the classroom and things like that. I'm 4th grade, will be 5th grade next year. And you did one activity where you just folded the page of a notebook in half and you wrote the elements of literature. So it was character, setting, and the kids could make inferences and write the evidence. So we did this, but you said it was the consistency. It wasn't just one lesson. So they started doing it on their own with books. I didn't have to tell them. And I remember a little girl in my class did it. I was like, I didn't even tell you to do this. Well, then you highlight her learning. Everyone else starts doing it. That was the easiest reading assignment I gave online, Jenjones.
And you didn't have to
do anything.
You don't have to make copies at the coffee shop, the print shop.
No.
Wow,
it was so great. And then also, just so you know, your reach is far. You're where you're at, and you're here at South Dakota. My original team that I worked with for 20 years, Katie Farmer, shout out because I know you're watching. She loves you. And Marcy Rogers is my teammate now. She just sent me a text yesterday that said, Jenjones said to buy this book, so I did. That's what we do. It's like the invisible string.
Yeah. Invisible Strings. Yep. There's another great book, Invisible Strings. Yep, absolutely. And that's why, that's why the hashtag Jenjones said so.
Yeah.
Right? That's a real thing.
Yeah.
Because when I say you need to buy this book, or you need to stop doing this, or you need to cover my class so I can go watch the teacher down the hall, Jenjones said so. Like if you speak it into existence when you say somebody else said to do it.
Yeah.
And so teachers were like elevating their practice because somebody else out there that they trust and respect said to do it. So therefore I must go do it. You must buy this. And so I worked finally at a school district in West Virginia in Morgantown in the fall because a principal brought 13 teachers to Hello LitCon in Kentucky and Bowling Green last year. And I know that the work that I do, that there's a lot of people that I've touched that I have no idea what kind of inner workings or kind of wheels are turning to get me there or to make it happen or whatever. But this principal, Jen Cox, she brought 13 teachers to Bowling Green, and then and this was last year, like in 2019. And then the Title I director for that school district called me. Jen reached out to me and she said, okay, I finally think I convinced the Title I director to hire you. She goes, I've only mentioned your name 3 billion times. And she finally said, okay, to get you off my back, we'll hire her. So I don't have to keep hearing this. But then you know what happens? Like I get there, and she wanted me to, like the Title I director, she goes, can you just do a keynote with the whole K-5, can you do K2 in the morning and 3-5 teachers in the afternoon? It was the first day back in the district. Can you just do a keynote about the joy of learning, the joy of literacy, the joy of reading? And I was like, okay, this is a dream job. I'll take this job any day. And it was great. And then, like, you know, what I say resonates with teachers. And then, you know, and so just like you say, like, just here I am in little Wyoming, like, and having this reach. And it really makes you realize the circle of influence, you know, how much of an influencer you are, or as you say, like a disciple, like you really are like reaching so many people. You don't even know who you're reaching. And that's why you always just have to be really careful what you do and what you say, because so many people are watching you. So many people are looking up to you. So many people see what you say, see what you don't do, see who you follow, see who you unfollow, see how you act and what you say in comments, and they watch. And you know, I'll be honest, I have haters. There are people that don't like me. There are people that are jealous. There are people that think I shouldn't have the things I have, or whatever, or just want what I have, or whatever. And I think to myself, like, I had a lady a couple weeks ago that said, I really wish you'd quit posting pictures of yourself on your boat. It really makes me nervous up here in New York. And I went, well, I'm by myself, so I'm social distancing with me in this lake. And I said, and I've kind of earned this. I didn't engage with her. I didn't reply or anything. I don't ever do that. I don't engage with that type of comments. But I do talk about it with my husband, because it does kind of get to me. And he goes, Jen, you've worked really hard. People don't see that part. They don't know all the things you've done and the sacrifices you made and the masters that you got while you were teaching full time and raising kids, and, you know, making TPT products until 2 a.m. in the morning while I put the kids to bed and made dinner, and all the things. And again, like I said in the very beginning of the show, maybe I was on another Zoom guest appearance this morning, and maybe I said it there, but the only thing that matters is how you conduct yourself. Like, just like you were saying, like, it's just between you and God. Like, only you know. Like, if you can sleep at night with your behavior and the way you've acted, then it doesn't matter how other people can sleep at night. It only matters how you can sleep at night. And I know that all the things I've done have been in a professional spirit. And I am a sarcastic person. Like, I am kind of, you know, just kind of sarcastic and naturally funny and goofy and say funny things, because that's just my personality. But I could be sassy. I could be spicy, you know, but you have to teeter that with professionalism too. And especially in such a public forum like social media, where people are constantly looking for little flaws to, like, say, oh, she was really passive aggressive right there in that comment, you know, or whatever, because everybody's watching. Just like little kids are always watching what their parents are doing, or what they're saying, or what they're eating, or what they're not saying, or what they're not doing, you know. So I just try to be me, and I just try to be the best me I can. And I never decided like I was going to go out and do this. And like, I didn't go to college and say, I'm going to grow up and be a social media influencer. I'm going to be a literacy influencer. I'm going to be a book pusher. Like, I never said that. Yeah. But the more you are passionate about what you do, and the more you believe in what you do, and are confident in what you do, and believe in and know that what you say is truth, and the simplicity of it all, that it's, people try to poke holes in your philosophy, you know, and your beliefs and your core values, because they're not their core values. And you know, even one time some lady told me that she said, Jen, I respect you as a teacher, but I'm going to have to unfollow you because you are wearing leather earrings, and that means you are wearing dead animal skins from your ears.
Wow.
I said, well, I didn't reply. I never engaged with any of those comments. People make fun of me for my creamer. People make fun of me. They say, you shouldn't drink that creamer because, like, you know how much I love my creamer, right? And so I'll go on a trip. People are so funny. We just have to laugh. And so people will say, I'll say, oh, I'll make an Instagram story. Good morning, Instagram. I'm back from North Dakota. I had a great trip. And my creamer is still good. The expiration date, this is May now. I'm like, okay, expiration date says November, so pouring it in like it's still good. And they write back and they go, if your creamer says that it's good until November, that only means one thing: tons of preservatives.
Who cares?
No, it means it's good.
Yep.
And so
Jen Hatmaker talked about Jen Hatmaker talked about creamer, and she was like, I've tried all the recipes and the healthy creamers, and I've tried it all, did it all, and it doesn't matter because this is what I'm gonna use. And it was, it's the tried and true creamer.
Exactly.
Who gives a crap
Right.
what creamer you drink?
Right.
exactly. And I kept thinking, well, like, do I say something like sneaky sly, like a month later? I was making another Instagram story, and I'm like, oh, my creamer. I love my French vanilla creamer. And oh, look, the expiration date is 3 months from now. But no worries, it's gonna be gone next week. No worries.
I love that you said, oh, people are funny, because there's other words I would use to describe people, but yes, to be kind, we'll say they're funny. They're funny.
Yeah, they're funny.
But I do think you hit the nail on the head when you talked about jealousy. Jealousy, I mean, it's the root of evil, but you got to work on that with your heart, being able to celebrate other people, because you are gifted with something special that not all of us have. You were set out for this job, because you said you were just going to be a teacher, but God was like, her personality's a little too big for that. And in your heart too.
Honestly and truly, like, God put people in my life at that time that said to me, like, literally, like, within a month and a half, maybe 3 months of my life back in 2013, I just kept hearing repeating messages from different people. Remember, repeating things mean. And so these people kept saying to me, like, I would do a staff meeting. I would do a PD for the staff at Lake Myra, and people at my own school would come up to me afterwards, and they would go, oh my God, Jen, like, you have this gift. Like, I could listen to you all day. Or, like, you're so captivating. Or, I just didn't understand what the standards meant, and now I do. And, like, you just explained it in a bite-sized way and, kind of actionable. And, like, everything before, like, the standards were so fuzzy. And, like, look at the grade level above and look at the grade level below, and osmosis, what your grade level means. And then they said, when you explained it, like, I get it now. And so I did not see in myself what other people, the gift in me that other people saw in me. And so that's why we have to keep believing in other people and telling other people, you have this gift, you're meant for this. Like, you have a calling, like, you need to go do this. And, like, that's purpose, So the more people started telling me this, I was like, okay, I need to stop and listen to this. Like, I need to figure this out. Like, I need to figure out what I'm doing. Am I going to quit my job and go do this? Or am I going to stay doing what I do and just sort of keep ignoring all these messages that I'm hearing? And it really took a chance. Like, I really took a leap of faith to resign from Wake County Public Schools. My principal had come to me, and my principal, loved me. I was his right-hand gal. Let's just be honest. I ran the school. He, like, what?
Well, he sounds like a smart principal then.
Well, I mean, he was a really good leader. Like, when we talk about, like, transformational leaders, like, he was a great leader. He had big visions, surrounded himself with people that made him look better and made kids ultimately do better and teachers do better. And I remember the first year of Lake Myra was a brand new school, and teachers said, I've worked harder this year than I've ever worked before for Jim, for you, for the kids, but I love it. Like, I'm glad I'm putting in this effort. And this is, like, really, like, this is like a train I can get on board with. But, I would always make, and when there was a time when after Common Core came out where he kept saying the big five, right? Like, phonics, phonemic awareness, vocabulary, fluency, and comprehension. And finally, after like a month, I would pull him into my office and I would say, Jim, you have to stop saying the big five, because there's the big seven now. I go, we have writing now and speaking and listening standards in there. So you need to stop saying the big five. So I feel I would coach him up to and behind closed doors, so he could continue to look good and sound good, like he knows he was talking about. But when I went to leave,
I was a literacy coach that particular year, and I had a couple of reading groups. And I told him in November that I wasn't coming back in January. And it was a decision that was long in coming because it took me a good 9 months, almost a year, to convince my husband that I wanted to leave. So he was like, oh, but your job is like a sure paycheck. And I'm like, yeah, but what if it could be double or triple? Like, what about that? Mm-hmm. And he goes, yeah, but it's a sure thing. And then I finally did this to him. Not that it's all about the money for sure, but it's about the reach and the the difference that you're making. But I said to him, I said, because honestly, let's be honest, husbands do care about the money. Mm-hmm. Husbands truly do. And he was a professor at NC State, so he had a good job at the time. I mean, he is now resigned from the university, but at the time he said to me, I said to him, finally, this is my final convincing, like, closing arguments. I said to him, I said, honey, look, I go to school every single day at Lake Myra. I leave the house at 7. I get home at 5:30. Like, I was 45-minute one-way commute to my school. So it was 45 minutes that way and 45 minutes home. And I said, I work all day and I make this much money. And I said, and then I come home at night and I spend from 8 o'clock until 2 o'clock in the morning making TPT products. I spend this amount of time making TPT products and I make this much money. Mm-hmm. And I said, so what if I were to spend the whole day making things and going and doing professional development? Because I had started doing PD around North Carolina. And he said, when you get 3 emails that are just sitting in your inbox for people that want you to come do PD at your school, he goes, then we'll talk. Mm-hmm. And so finally I had gotten like 3 or 5 like in messages that said, Jen, so here's what I did. He said, you need to have three emails sitting in your inbox of PD requests coming in. And so I was like, okay, well, how am I going to do that? So I started blogging harder, and I would do PD at my school. And I would say, hey, Ashley, can you just like take my phone and take a few pictures of me doing PD, just like some action shots of like me working with the teachers, maybe take a couple of videos, and like I'll like write a little blog post about me doing PD. And so I did. And my very last paragraph, so my whole blog post was about teaching teachers how to teach students summarizing, different strategies for summarizing, and like what the PD went. I'd share a few slides and like pictures of me doing it and everything. And then the last paragraph said, if your school or district is interested in professional development and how to teach reading comprehension strategy, just send me an email at blah, 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 blah. So I started getting more emails. So I was like, hey, honey, by the way, look at my inbox. So I just got to it. I just got to it because I was determined. And steadfast. And so I said, so he said, you got me. And I said, but I said, I'm not going to do this without your blessing. Like, I really need, that's really important to me. Like, even doing what I do now, I need to be able to do this and you have a happy heart. Because if you don't have a happy heart, if you have a jealous heart, or if I don't have your buy-in for this, then I'm not happy. And he was like, yeah, you got it. Like, it's good. He's like, whatever you touch turns to gold. You'll be fine. And people will love you. And, it was, the leap of faith was, oh my gosh, I hope this is the right decision. Like, I'll never know. And you know what? I've never looked back. I've never regretted it. And when I went to my principal and I said, Jim, I'm resigning. And he goes, what? And I said, I'm not coming back after Christmas either. I said, I don't have enough days to go at the end of the year. And he goes, you can't leave at the end. You can't leave in the middle of the year. And I said, oh, whoa, hey, wait a minute. I said, I work for a principal. I've worked for a principal. This was him I was talking about. I said, I worked for a principal once that told me we don't make decisions based on calendars and schedules. We do what's best for kids. And I said, I'm making a decision based on what's best for my family right now. And I said, the reasons I'm leaving now are waiting in my inbox.
Yep.
And he was like, and I said, you know that if the right job came along for you, you'd leave in the middle of the year too, right? And he goes, yeah, I would. He goes, I'm really happy for you. I'm really sad for me in the school, but I'm really happy for you. And he left that school that year and went on to become a principal at a high school. Oh. Just because I not because of me, but necessarily, but like just the conditions were different. Like he, like I really do feel like I was helping him shine, making that school be successful. And I think he just didn't want, I don't know. I just think he was ready for a change too, or at least maybe he went that way. But, So I've just never really looked back. And because of your credibility and your reputation, that's really all you have to stand on when you're on your own.
Yeah.
Your credibility and your reputation. And that's true about our character, is our reputation is all we have. And so when I do a good PD job, one principal tells two principals, and then two tell four, and four tell eight, and then you're off and running. Yeah. And you're just booked like through December, like I am. Yeah. And you connect with teachers on Instagram, and 90% of the gigs that I get in real life are from teachers like you who run to their principal and say, "We need to hire Jenjones for PD. Like, she'll come to our school and she'll blah blah blah, and she'll teach guided reading, and she'll this and she'll that." And then the principal is like, "Give me her number, like her email. You know, I'll find the money. We'll have a bake sale, whatever we need to do, like to get her here or whatever." So it's just really kind of how it happened.
That's crazy.
I love it. I'm glad it happened, because you just, teachers just want to cling to something good and positive. And, you know, and I think the best leaders, administrators are those who taught in the classroom, because then they understand what teachers need. So the fact that you taught for 25 years, you know it. You're not just talking about it. And then you are going into classrooms and you're teaching kids. Yeah. So you're doing the footwork. And also, I just want to say thank you for your Teachers Pay Teachers stuff. I think you got to be mindful of the stuff you buy on Teachers Pay Teachers. So it's not just busy work kind of thing, but your stuff is quality instruction. It is. You know, it's not just a craft, but it is quality instruction that is prompted from research. Yeah. And I'm a research person, as far as, you know,
practitioner. Yeah, you apply the research. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. If it's not, I don't know, research doesn't lie, is what I like to say. So, and practice also doesn't. But I just want to say thank you. There was something else. Hold on, Jenjones, or something else. Thank you so much for saying the putting the parent read aloud in that take home bag. Oh. I've never thought of that. So thank you. I did take off this school year. And did this for teachers, just to inspire them, because it's such a hard job. So when I took off this year, the first thing I did was devote, and just had teachers come, and my lady sang, and it was just about knowing your purpose, and you're there for a reason, and God will fulfill you and give you everything you need to do this really hard job. And then I've done another one since, but because of digital learning, actually because of coronavirus and COVID-19, it has just relit my love of learning, or my love of teaching. So I do think I want to go back into the classroom, but my sister, I was in her room almost every week reading to her kids, and I just was never really out of the classroom, and I miss it so much. So I was so excited to have you, because I kind of knew that I want to go back into the classroom. So this kind of thing made me so excited. And that's when, you know, you have a teacher heart. When you want to just sit for hours and talk about reading and writing and spelling. So
when I asked my kids what their favorite read aloud was this year, they just gave me books that she read aloud. I was a little bit offended. It's fine. I read to them every single day, people. But they were like, when Mrs. Ashley read this, I'm like, yeah, that was great.
Yeah, that's so cool. Yeah.
It's so true, though, because kids, like, the way this is a funny thing to talk about, but the way teachers are attracted to me is the way kids are attracted to teachers they love.
Yeah. True story.
Yeah. You know, you want to be inspired by that teacher that gives you back what you want. Like, you want a teacher that's going to pay attention to you and love you and say things to you and listen to you. You know how many kids, like, if teachers spent 30 seconds, maybe even a minute, talking to each child, trying throughout the week, like, I would be like, hey, Sam, like, how'd your basketball game go? Like, just having normal, act interested in kids. I mean, if any, at a minimum, act interested, like, if you're not truly interested, but, like, let kids know, like, I'm here for you. Like, I think you're a great kid, and I want to get to know you. And, like,
like would have kids come up to me that weren't mine, because we rotated kids in third grade, and I had a third grade group that came to me, 24, 25 kids. They never wanted to leave my room. Like they didn't want to go back to their home. Like they wanted to stay in my room, because when I taught, I was always prepared. And I always knew my lesson, and I had my books ready to go, and I had the stopping spots, and I would say, boys and girls, remember that part in the book where the character is stopping to talk to the rock? Why do you think that? Like I would always be prepared with my lessons, and talk about like building their reading lives, and their reading box should be like their reading brain. It should be stuffed full, and like kids would, I would have reading conferences with them, which a reading conference is no more than a reading conversation, and talk to them about their reading lives and what they're learning as a reader and strategies that they're applying as a reader. And, kids just soak that up. Everybody wants, like, every human has a desire. Like, the greatest human need is like the desire to be heard and seen.
Yeah.
So kids are no different, and adults are no different.
No.
Yeah.
No. Well, yeah, I've always said we work hard for those that we love. And it's just, I mean, and I'm big on high expectations for kids. I don't think that there's anything kids cannot reach. If you love them and give them what they need, they will rise to the challenge every frickin' time if you are there for them and they know that you love them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Honest to goodness, I am so about that so much, and they're really like they're really, if you have the mindset that we're all equals in the classroom, like I'm a teacher and a learner, you could be a teacher, like you're learners, and you could teach somebody else how to do something. Like we're all here teaching and learning together. Like I'm not the know-it-all, and you're not. I'm not imparting my knowledge on you. Like you have strengths and things you could add in. If you're really good at this particular app, like you could teach the other kids in the class how to use that app. Like that's okay. Education in a traditional education is very permission oriented. Kids have to raise their hand for permission to talk, or permission to go to the bathroom, or permission to get a glue stick, or permission to get a Kleenex or whatever. And it's like, no, just give kids permission. Like when you need a Band-Aid, you know where they are. When you have to go to the bathroom, how about you go? When you need a drink, when you're thirsty, when you're thirsty. I mean, thirst and like going to the bathroom, like those are all very low, very basic needs that, humans have, Maslow's needs. And so, when you come to school, you shouldn't have to ask permission to get a drink of water or go to the bathroom, because you don't do it on the weekend.
Yeah.
So you have permission to do that here. You have permission to act like a human here. You don't have to ask me everything that you want to do. And that validates a lot of things for kids. They think, oh, like even the book selection, like I've been kind of cycling through this, let kids read whatever they want thing right here. But if adults are constantly telling kids, you can't read this book, or you can't read that book, or that book's too high for you, or that book's too low for you, or snatching books out of kids' hands would be one of the worst things that I've heard teachers do or librarians do. But like that only sends that the message that sends to kids is your choices don't matter. Right. I know what's best for you. Yep. And that's not a good message to be sending to, if we're trying to grow readers and confident humans, confident kids.
Yep. Because and you said confidence is one of the most attractive things.
Yeah.
If you give a child confidence, that's all they need.
Yeah.
That's a good life.
That's all it's because then that hard book that was really interesting, you really want to read it, but it is hard. But you know what? I have the confidence that I can do it. So
and the pride.
Yeah.
And that perseverance that I stuck to it. We are most proud of the things that were really hard in the beginning, and we worked through and worked towards. Those are the things we're most proud of.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sure.
Oh, I could just keep going. Okay. So it doesn't matter because, I don't know. I am, fingers crossed, I applied for a kindergarten job. Oh, I'm really hoping I get it. And if I do, I'm going to call my friend Jenjones. And
call me. You are good. Yep. Call me. I will say two things before we go. Okay. One is this isn't public knowledge, so I don't care if you put it on your broadcast or whatever. But I'm writing a book right now.
Yay! I've
Right?
always wanted you to
should.
write a book.
Yep.
I know a lot of people say that. David and Shelley Burgess are publishing it for me.
Oh, and teach like a pirate.
Oh, good job.
He's like a pirate. Yep.
Good job.
And my book is called Get Your Lit Together.
Yeah!
Oh,
When is it coming out?
It should be. I would say it would come out probably won't be in 2020 because now it's May, and I have written 75% of the book. My Google Drive is stuffed right now. My book is Get Your Lit Together, and there's the 5 kind of chapter or sections of it are basically my recipe, what kids need to succeed at school, really, to be successful. And it's not just literacy only, it's literacy, but it's mindsets and things. But the 5 things are kids need a good teacher. That teacher that teaches with urgency and intention and planned and highly effective teachers, like you said in the beginning, that teacher factor is huge. The second thing that kids absolutely need is access to books and access to text. And that's why, so anything that you hear me say or preach, every day is library day, or let kids read, go to the classroom library, or check out 5 books at a time, or whatever, we just need to open up access. I just find it ironic that you're a Title I school and you only let kids check out 1 book 1 time a week. That's incongruent. That doesn't make sense. That you need to align our practices to what our goals are. And kids need just access to a lot more text, and even that's digitally as well. The third thing that kids need is time to read, and the third chapter is chunks of time to read, not just time to read, but chunks of time to read. Not 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there, but 40 minutes here, 15 minutes there, 30 minutes here, chunks of time to read and chunks of time to write. If writing is not on the master schedule at school, it will fall to the wayside. It just will, because it's the one thing that teachers don't know how to teach, and because teachers don't know what to teach, because teachers aren't writers themselves mostly, but they don't understand writing craft. They don't understand conventions. They don't understand details and descriptive language. They don't understand the power of language and vocabulary and wordplay and all those craft moves. One of my favorite professional books ever is called The Writing Thief by Ruth Calhoun. Write it down.
Jenjones, that was one of my questions, was what is the best professional book, the best PD book? So thank you.
Yeah, so that's one of them. The Writing Thief, and also a more current, that's a great oldie but goodie, because one of my favorite quotes in her book is that the quote says, we need to recognize that the very best resources for teaching reading and writing don't come from worksheets. They come from the books we know and love. Because all day long as a teacher, you're asking kids to put on their reading hat to read, and then you're asking them to put their writing hat on to write. When really it's the same hat. The same hat. The hat is, I'm gonna read today, and I'm gonna read this, and I'm gonna think to myself, how does the author want me to read this? How am I gonna change my voice for the punctuation marks? Or how am I gonna emphasize my words for the bold caps? Or how am I gonna remember that when the author capitalizes Mr. and Mrs. Miller, that those must be really important people because they have capital letters at the beginning of their name. And then when we ask kids to write, the question that kids should be asking themselves is, how am I going to write this in a way that I want my reader to read it? So that when a child is reading, so punctuation conventions, another one of my very favorite professional books, and it's on the verge of professional book, but also an application workbook. You know how the reading strategies book is 30 pages of an introductory chapter, but then all the good stuff and the lessons and stuff are in there. Well, this other book called Patterns of Power by Jeff Anderson is all about mentor sentences and using sentences in books instead of doing the old-fashioned DOL. Remember in the old days we used to put a sentence up on the board and say the sentence. Instead of doing that, which again, like I was saying before, kids can find the subject and predicate in the DOL, but they don't use subject predicate correctly in their own writing. So DOL is not effective. But in a mentor sentence, what you do is you put up a sentence from the book, like the sentence, as the sun sets, parents tell their children it's time for bed, which is, it's time for bed, it's in quotes. So I put that up on the board, and you say to kids, what do you notice? What did the author do? What's right about this sentence? Because the analogy he gives in that book, which I love, is this: if this is the land of reading and this is the land of writing, they meet on the bridge of conventions and grammar and vocabulary. So the author says the words in a certain way, puts phrases in a certain way, puts punctuation marks in a certain way, so that as if the author was sitting on the reader's shoulder to say, oh, do you see those quotation marks coming up? Yep, get ready to change your voice to the farmer's voice.
Sure.
Like that. So like punctuation and grammar is the only way the author can talk to the reader.
Nice.
It's like a little silent language,
Mm-hmm.
you know? So teaching kids that. So that's my favorite book, So Patterns of Power. And then my third favorite, well, not that they're in order, but like I love The Writing Thief because she gives lots of mentor examples of books in there to use. And the Ramped Up Read Aloud is going to be in the same category as The Writing Thief. But Patterns of Power, so good. And then the third book is a pure like nightstand professional book. Like there's no action to take on it, but it's kind of a sleeper. It's not one that you're going to like really read about on the internet or much, but it's called The Reading Turnaround. The Reading Turnaround. And never heard of it. See, people have never heard of it, but it's so good. The whole first chapter is about helping kids develop their reading identity, about who they feel about how themselves, feel about themselves as a reader. And when we talk about confidence, I always feel like kids should leave second grade being able to know and name books they like, authors they like, genres they like, series they like, and then they're on their way to being a lifelong reader if they can name all those things. Yeah. But when kids get to middle school and high school and they don't know who authors are or ones they like, or they, I say, if a child is up and like I always tell teachers, how many of you have a classroom library? They'll raise their hand. I said, how many of you have kids that go to the classroom library 10 times in 15 minutes? A lot of teachers raise their hand because those are the kids that have not developed their reading identity. Because if you know what kind of books you like to read, you don't have to go to the library 15 times in 15 minutes.
Yep.
So good.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
Jones. Thank you for touching on writing too.
Yeah.
Writing is part of my heart. And it's funny because you're right, teachers struggle with writing. And I didn't understand why. But it was also a blessing because this is my sister's first year in this district. And we got to teach a PD class together to teachers, a writing one. And
well, let me say two things about writing. One is writing is actually easier to teach than reading because there's a product.
Sure.
With their writing on it. A lot of times reading, there isn't a product. It's just like invisible thinking that kids do. There's not always like a product. Sure. And also what a child does as a writer is a mirror image of what they are doing as a reader. So I always say put a running record side by side with a writing sample.
Sure.
Because if a child does not have short vowels under control as a reader, they probably don't have them under control as a writer. So kids are very consistent in their errors. Right. They don't know they're doing it. It's just the nature of language. So when kids don't know long vowel patterns, how to read them, they probably don't know how to write them. Yeah. So it's very telling to put a reading sample, a reading assessment, and a writing assessment side by side, because it will be like a mirror image of that child, of them as the opposite thing.
Sure. Okay. Oh, thank you. Thank you.
So
Thank you.
You're welcome. I enjoyed being on your show. I think what you're doing is amazing. Giving back and giving teachers what they need right now. I went on Twitter today, and I tweeted on Twitter this morning. It says, because I have set screen times for myself on my phone. Ooh. And just because I just want to be able to turn it off, and get down to business and get stuff done. But I just feel like part of me as a part of me is like, I'm going to limit my screen time and my social media use right now during COVID to really get my lid together. And then every day I get that pop-up that I've reached the time limit on social media. And every day I hit ignore for today.
Tomorrow.
Exactly.
There's always tomorrow, Jen.
Yeah, it's fine.
I get that pop-up every damn day. Every day it comes up. And I think to myself, what am I doing wrong? Because I want so badly to finish my book, and I want so badly to do all the things. But things that I'm doing are this, and replying to direct messages and helping teachers and giving teachers what they need right now, because teachers are doing things they've never done before and they don't know what to do and they need help.
Yep.
And so like I even Instagram phone called a parent yesterday who her son is not getting, he had an IEP at the last school and he's not getting modifications this year. And this one teacher's not helping. He's in 4th grade and she's practically in tears. And I'm like, this is me. There's no DM that's going to fix this. I'm calling this mom right now.
Oh.
And so I hit the little telephone button at the top and I called her, and I was really reluctant to call her because I looked at her profile and it was like, it was like, Bunny Love was like her Instagram handle. Or it's like kitty cat something at the top. And I was like, do I call her?
Okay. That's fine. Maybe she's still a good mom.
We still call.
So she declined my call. And then I texted her and I said, hey, I just got your direct message about your son's IEP. I was just going to give you a couple bits of advice, and it's just easier to tell it over the phone than write it.
Yep.
She's like, oh my gosh, I'll call you right back. And I was like, okay, Bunny Love, you call me right back.
And I will help you and your son.
But 20 minutes later, she was like, oh my gosh, I didn't know I had the right to this. I didn't know that they had to apply. Like, yeah, it's like a legal federal document, blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
And so, and there's been a couple of teachers that have reached out to me like they're going to do something bad, or they're just really upset or something, whatever. And I'm just like, I'm calling them. Like early on in this school closures, there was messages going like, check on your friends, like check on each other and things. And I was like, okay, she must not have a team. She must have a team of one or something. I don't know. But so I just called her and I said, hey, like I got your message. I was just checking on you and just want to call and chat over coffee. I'm here.
Oh,
I
nice.
don't know who she is or whatever,
Wow.
But I think if she's sending me a message, that I should call her. I was just kind of moved to call her, and she broke out in tears. The mom that I did call, she goes, I'm by myself all day long, every day. I have a 2-year-old and a baby. My husband is a firefighter. We haven't seen him in 2 weeks. I'm supposed to teach my own kids, but I'm supposed to teach my class. Half of them don't show up. My kids are crying in the background. Like, Jenjones, like, what do I do?
Right.
And I'm like, do what you can.
Yep.
Don't worry. I said, this is the time to differentiate for your kids. I said, if some kids aren't showing up to Zoom, you give them a phone call. You say, hey, can you show up? Do you want to show up? Like, I'm here. You can't, you won't, whatever. Fine. Read some books. I'll check in with you next week. Whatever. Like, don't try to make everybody do the same when everybody's in different conditions right now anyway.
Yep.
I said, you need to do what you can.
Yep.
And same thing with interventions. I've had so many teachers message me and say, how can I provide progress monitoring on their interventions during this time? And I said, don't even try.
Yeah.
I said, it's not right, because they're not getting their tier 1 scoop like they should anyway.
Yep.
So it's not even, don't even try to do it. It's not fair.
Yep.
So, just call people.
You can call me anytime.
We will go to coffee.
Yeah, and I will never decline your phone call. Ever.
No.
So, no. I can't thank you enough, Jenjones. I really can't. You can stay on here and be blessed by Miss Paigey and her beautiful voice, or you can leave. I know you're busy.
I probably will log off.
Okay.
But I just want to say thank you for having me. Of course, I've loved every minute. I think you girls are you're a hoot for one. But you're also super dedicated. And I mean, you laughed at all my jokes. So I mean, I love that.
Absolutely. It's funny.
We make your recipes too. I just had to say that.
They're your French onion dip. Delicious.
So
She brought it over. Delicious.
So good. I mean, again, I just, my mom, I grew up very modestly. We grew up, my mom put my clothes on layaway at JCPenney every August. Like I have humble beginnings. You know what I mean? I'm just like, there's so much a part of me that's just, I can't let that go. Like, it doesn't matter how much money you make now. Like, I still shop at Goodwill. Like, when I find a cute top, like, I'm still going to get it. Like, I still bargain hunt for things. And like, there's just parts of you that you can't take away. And I realize that's really important for me to not lose that touch, because so much of the teachers that follow me are just trying to make ends meet. So the more I am normal, guys. Like, I am wearing fake nails that I pressed on this morning. I have a
pile of laundry out in there just like everybody else. I did not fold my clothes or put them away this morning. I did make my bed this morning.
I
do.
and then I'm always like, Jen would be so disappointed. I don't ever make my bed.
I know.
It's
I know.
fine.
I just do
And
that
I'll be Jen Jones.
Exactly.
at a minimum. It just makes me feel put together, even if I don't have myself together.
Yeah.
At least I feel it's a facade, but it makes me feel good. And a clean kitchen. I'm all about the clean kitchen. Because if I wake up, I'll be like, the kitchen is clean, so I'm not going to cook anything and get it dirty. So,
Great.
you know, fortunately, I've done a really good job at training my husband.
Ooh,
And so,
nice.
yeah, he is really good now about keeping things neat and picked up and cleaning out the refrigerator, and like the things that I'm idiosyncratic about, he is now like makes bed with me and cleans up the refrigerator, puts vegetables on this side, fruit on this side, cheese on this tray, meat in this tray. Like so good.
It's a system. It's a system.
Kids and husbands are totally trainable.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. With the right coach. Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly. With the right coach. Yeah, with the right scaffolds in place and the right positive reinforcement in place.
Right. Exactly. Don't forget that. Give them rewards. You did great. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh,
So good.
thank you.
You are welcome. You are welcome. So much fun. Good luck. Have a great day.
You
Bye.
too.
Bye, Jen Jones.
All right. Bye.
Hello.
Bye. Yay. So that was Jen Jones. Paige, Jordan, how is it when you're not a teacher
I wondered too.
and you have to listen to reading and writing instruction?
Well, I wanted to, like, several times I tried to unmute, but I didn't want to interrupt her.
I know. Me too, actually.
Like, I really literally wanted to, like, tell her thank you. She said something, and the way she said it made me, like, sit back and be like,
Oh.
so sorry that I did this, because, like, I'm not the mom that's like, don't send books home with my kids because I don't want them to read. I'm the mom that's like, I have 5 kids, and when you send 5 home with 5 kids, it's 25 books at my house I have to try to keep track of.
Yeah, true story. Yep.
But in that, when she said that, like, it broke my heart. Now I'm gonna cry because I'm like, but that discourages them from reading what they want to read. And when she said that, I was like, oh my word, what I just did to my kids and their love for reading was out of my selfishness of, like, not wanting to lose the school's books, so I'm not paying for books. You know? But the way she said it, I was just like, I need to suck it up because my kids want to read those books. You know? So
it's okay, Jordan. I will tell you that your kids don't remember that. That's done. It's over. They are not, you haven't ruined them because of that.
No.
Promise.
Thank you.
You're a wonderful mom. Even the fact that you're getting upset about saying that one
You're
time,
like
probably.
reflective, yeah.
Exactly. Reflective.
Yeah.
That's good. No, you're just fine.
thank you.
But thank you for both of you staying on thank you for staying on that whole time.
Yeah.
I want to go back to teaching now because I'm like, I wasn't maybe the best.
Oh, I think about that
because I listen to Jenjones.
Paige Stevens, I did not know you were a teacher.
I taught first grade.
in Sioux Falls.
Wow.
Yep, so that's come back on. It's, it'll probably come back in some way, shape, or form once kiddos are in school, grown.
Yeah.
But I'm like, maybe I should teach reading recovery.
Oh, it would be like my dream job, I think.
Yeah.
I do. Yeah.
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 It's amazing.
Yeah. Very cool.
You know what else is amazing? My 2 lady friends that sing. And I'm excited to hear the song because Monday, I think it was Monday, you were like, I know my song. And then today you changed it. And I just love when God works that way. So.
All right. For those of you that are still tuned in.
The good thing with them is that they can just, right to the end for you. Say at the beginning with Jordan, middle with Jen Jones, end with you.
Remember how she said teachers have a little bit of that nerd in them? Mm-hmm. All of the people that just listen to her, they're probably teachers, are 100% in Paige, and they're not going to bail on the song.
No, they love the music.
They just got PD, and we're
free.
good.
Free PD.
They're here for you.
Yeah.
Oh, that's hilarious. Let me take a sip of water.
Yeah, too. Bless us.
Her hair.
I've
Oh,
Yeah, it's just actually Julia's learning to play this song on the piano. She was practicing it this morning. I thought, that's the song I need to sing. So it's Untitled Hymn by Chris Rice. And it's so beautiful. It's so simple. I'm like, I wish I knew how to shorten it. Hopefully, it's kind of a slow song. Sorry. Okay, here we go. Weak and wounded sinner, lost and left to die. Oh, raise your head, for love is passing by. Come to Jesus. Come to Jesus. Come to Jesus and live. Now your burden's lifted and carried far away, and precious blood has washed away the stain. So sing to Jesus, sing to Jesus, sing to Jesus and live. And like a newborn baby, don't be afraid to crawl. And remember, when you walk, sometimes we fall. So fall on Jesus, fall on Jesus, fall on Jesus and live. Sometimes the way is lonely and steep and filled with pain. So if your sky is dark and pours the rain, then cry to Jesus, cry to Jesus, cry to Jesus and live. Oh, and when the love spills over and music fills the night, and when you can't contain your joy inside, then dance for Jesus, dance for Jesus, dance for Jesus, and live. And with your final heartbeat, kiss the world goodbye. Then go in peace and laugh on glory's side. And fly to Jesus, fly to Jesus, fly to Jesus and live. Fly to Jesus, fly to Jesus, fly to Jesus and live.
It was a perfect way to wrap this all up. That was absolutely perfect, because I think throughout all of this, all the Zooms, the only thing I've ever really wanted to share or for anyone to get from this is to go to Jesus, cry to Jesus, go to him in the joyful times, in the scary times, go to him. And that steadfast love, my Bible verse says, though the mountain may crumble, you will not. Because with all the unknowns, he's known. He's not changing in any circumstances. None of this is a surprise to him. He will always be there. You just have to go to him. That's all he wants. And I was thinking, there's so many, like, all the unknowns. Instead of being fearful in those in those unknowns, you can be joyful, because you know, what's that Bible verse, Exodus?
Yeah.
What is it?
Be still and the Lord will fight for you.
Well, that one's good too.
Okay.
Wanting more.
Ephesians
Okay.
3:20. God will do exceedingly above all you could ask, think, or imagine.
Really
Am I
good.
wrong?
Yes. No,
Okay,
you
good.
passed the quiz.
Okay.
Yo, that was a pop quiz too,
Okay,
and
yeah,
you did
it's
really
one
well.
of my favorite. Yeah, sorry.
Because it's true. He will always write a story better than you can ever imagine. And I've been saying that for, I would say 10 years.
Yeah.
And I haven't ever really experienced it, but I've been saying it forever to people. And finally, and right now, I am seeing it, not just in my life, but in many lives that, you know, in the unexpected, in the unknown, he is known, and he will always write an ending that is better than anything you can ever dream of.
Yeah.
And I will say that with all of my heart.
Yeah. Amen.
So,
Very true.
so the steadfast love, that was on my mind. I had seen it first in a song, Steadfast Love, that Amy's church sang. It was called Steadfast. And then twice, I always have readings, but there's no time, but 2 devotionals, both had steadfast, and I didn't know what steadfast meant. So I had to go and look it up in the dictionary. So just let's be steadfast in our lives. And I love that Jenjones even talked about just character. Character.
Yeah.
And people are watching, and people are looking, and what you say and what you do is people will judge you based off of it. So we want to be good people and disciples. We want to get disciples, and no one's going to buy what we're selling if we are negative and, I don't know. So, yeah. Can I just add one thing? This has been, I had to write on my sticky note because I wanted to make sure I said it, but it was in one of my devotionals, and I'm like, this is one of the best things that all of us need to cling to. But it says, go to the throne instead of the phone. And I just love it because I'm like, step away from social media. If you're mad or sad, Pastor West said this during my premarital counseling. He's like, do not write anything to anyone if you are upset. It was fun. But it was in my devotional. Go to the throne instead of the phone. If you have a problem, if you are happy, mad, sad, glad, whatever, go to Jesus.
Amen.
Yes.
First, always. So, longest Zoom. Woo! We did it. And who knows? We might be together next time.
There you
Churches,
go.
hallelujah. Churches can gather. People can gather. Thank you, girls, so much.
Thank
you guys are the best.
Fantastic.
Until next time. Hold on.
There you go.
Do the next. Always.
I was wondering the whole time.
Chair.
Do the next thing.
Do the next thing. Always. Even if you don't want to, do the next thing.
There you go.
Right.
All right. Jordan, you're amazing. Paigey, love you. You guys are amazing.
Fantastic.
You're amazing.
See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.